digital education is also playing an increasingly important role in higher education and is even more necessary under the influence of the epidemic. What do you think about the digital divide in higher education and how that evolved during the pandemic period?
I'll speak very briefly because I've spoken far too much, but yes, I think it's been very similar in the sense of what we've seen in schools and in other settings. We've done some work recently. We did some surveys in the aftermath of the immediate aftermath of the first lockdown, and I think we saw exactly the same challenges. The kind of students not being able to meaningfully engage in emergency remote teaching because of their kind of setting, their environment, their device access, whatever. It was exactly the same sort of challenges, but we think they're fine because they're at university. So, it doesn't surprise me. I'll share a couple of links into the chat. I'm happy to, I'll let colleagues come in as well.
Actually, can I just add another question from Yishandu, which is also asked, was particularly for Sarah, was about the role of gender in all that. The gender, I noticed that to maximize learning outcomes for girls is one of the areas of the Hub program. And she's wondering what specific work is being done about the gender issue. So that's one specifically for Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just starting off on that, but it is a really important focus, particularly for our sponsor, the FCDO, and it's a theme that cuts across our other areas of research as well. So, for example, when we're looking at TPD, which is my specific remit in the Hub, one thing we would want to focus on is how teachers can be equipped to help to develop gender responsive pedagogies. In terms of what's being done, I'd point to the Girls Education Challenge, which is particularly focusing on that issue and has just produced a report, which I can share the link to, which is quite interesting and talks quite a lot about how to develop gender responsive pedagogies and how, what issues there are with learners and what issues there are with teachers. When we've looked at this, we've been reviewing the evidence on this in the Hub, finding some of the evidence about access to technology outside school as well as in school being differential for girls, because of attitudes about domestic roles and other gender stereotypes and so on. Teachers also have those kinds of stereotypes and attitudes. So there's quite a lot of challenge in that, but using different technologies can address that if the right kind of pedagogy is going along with it, I suppose. Girls tend to sort of favor particular forms of technology use and to have lower confidence in using technology. I can see Sue wants to come in as well, and she probably works with girls on a daily basis who have these kinds of attitudes. So it'd be good to hear what she says. But just to wrap up and say, a lot of the research doesn't look at how technology can overcome gender bias within sort of existing education systems, and that's an area where we want to focus our work. Sue, do you want to add?
Please.
Yeah. Yes, sure. I was very interested in what you're saying, Sarah, and I think we should carry on talking about gender responsive pedagogies because it's really important. We're obviously England based, so not as broad as you're talking. We're involved in a sort of large scale set of interventions to try and see which of the barriers can be effectively overcome by changing the pedagogy and that sort of thing. And we know that girls don't feel they belong in technology. They don't feel it's relevant to them. They lack encouragement, and these are really big things, even where there is a lot of access to technology going on. So we're trying out various different approaches with randomized control trials to try and see which intervention is most effective, but just based in England. But it'd be interesting to find out a bit more about the EdTech Hub gender work as well.